What's going on YouTube? This is Brandon, aka Fresh. I'm back with another video that I wanted to get off of my chest, something that is very near, very dear and important to me, and that's the treatment of special education teachers. But before I get into that, I need y'all to smash the like button. I need y'all to subscribe if you haven't already. And be prepared to share this with not just a regular ed teacher, but definitely with your special ed teachers, friends, your SPED friends, all of them, because this is a big deal, one for me especially. And I kind of touched on this in my very first video about education. Make sure that you go back and watch that about the reason why I left education for good. But I need to jump into this. All right, so my first position in the school system, I was in Alabama, and I worked as a paraprofessional. Depending on where you are, that's basically like a teacher's aide. It's the same thing. All right, so that particular position was in the SPED field. Okay, and I dealt with a lot of behavior problem students. That was where they wanted me to focus on: students who cut class, students who were in the bathroom smoking, but mostly and mainly those students they had IEPs, and I had a position that was called refocus. So they were supposed to come to me anytime that they needed to refocus and settle down, and that was my thing for them. So I got into SPED early. I was in my 20s. And I enjoyed it. I touched on it. It was a full-time position, but after every taxes and everything, I think I made $1,100 a month. But it was so fulfilling. I loved every moment of it, even some of the days that weren't necessarily that much fun. And I'll get to that on another video. But when I decided to go into education as a career, because I already had a bachelor's in marketing, but I wanted to go into education, so I got my master's in SPED. So I did my student teaching and all that, and my first year was really tough because I kind of felt I didn't really feel as prepared as I thought I was. And I had a pretty high caseload, like a lot of special ed teachers have. There's a lot of caseload. And for those of y'all who don't know what that means, that's basically you have IEPs, individualized education plans for students who need special education, whether it's for behavior, for learning disabilities, whatever it might be. These students just need extra reinforcement, and the IEPs assist them with that. And there's just a lot that goes into it. It's a lot of legal implications that go into it, and it's a very stressful part of teaching. So if you're a SPED teacher and you have classes that you're already a part of, so whether that means that you're the second teacher in the classroom, you still have a job to do. You can't just sit there and just chill while the regular ed teacher is teaching. You're responsible. Either that means that you're starting the class off, doing a lesson, or you're around monitoring, assisting those particular students who need your help. So on top of that, you're teaching a full day, but you also have these caseload students who require your attention. So you have an IEP that might be due once or twice a month. So if you have a caseload of 15, 20, and sometimes, unfortunately, even more than that, you have these that are required, and sometimes you have to adjust those. Then you have annual reviews at the end of the year, and you have transition IEPs for those who are going from middle school to high school. So it's a lot that takes place for a lot of these SPED teachers. So here's my issue with that. So everybody is paid as a teacher on the same salary scale. Doesn't matter if you have loads of experience or not. If you have 20 years experience, you're going to get paid for having 20 years experience. Doesn't matter if you won Teacher of the Year, you're getting paid for whatever you fall on that salary scale. If you are a special education teacher and you have additional loads of responsibilities, and that to write an IEP And for those of y'all who know this, my fellow SPED teachers, for those who understand what goes into writing an IEP, the implications that go into writing an IEP, the IEP meeting. And I don't know about y'all, but I've had, some of the special ed department chairs who, God bless them. This takes special people to be a special ed department chair. But sometimes those meetings can last a long time. So you're like in the meeting and you don't have no time you're usually going to be during your planning period. And if your planning period is an hour or an hour and a half, and you spend most of that time or the entire time in a SPED IEP meeting, well, what time do you have to plan? What time do you have to eat lunch if it runs into your lunchtime? And you get no extra pay for that. Zero. And I just mentioned one of the key parts of that is that it is a legal implication. If you screw the IEP up, the parents can sue, and you're the one that's going to be held responsible for that. So again, if you have 15, 20 plus students on your caseload, you have legal ramifications for all 15, 20 plus students, and you're not getting anything extra for that. And it's so unfortunate because so many really good teachers have been pushed out of SPED, and they may decide to go and just do a TA position or go into the regular ed like myself. I found an elective position in business that really saved me, because if I had to stay with SPED, I would not have lasted. I only did 2 years. That's as much as I can do, because it was just too much. It was too stressful. I would get anxiety writing the IEP. I had no problem doing the meeting. The meetings were fine. I'm really good, as you can see. I don't have a problem talking to people. But the writing of the IEP was so stressful because I had other stuff that was on my mind, had other stuff that I had to do, and just sitting down trying to take time to make sure that every little detail, finite detail, was done was too much for me. And for some, the IEP writing the IEP is no deal for a lot of teachers. But the meeting is where they may get the anxiety, because you got to talk to the parents. You got to make sure that you communicate all the needs and things that they have and things that you're trying to do and implement for the students. Just a lot of stuff, a lot of questions that they have, and not all teachers are comfortable with that. So it's just a lot that goes into it, and it's so unfortunate that if your salary scale is at 40 or maybe even 45,000, and you have all these additional responsibilities, not to mention the other duties and responsibilities that you have for your own school. So if you have athletic duty, if you have morning and after school duty, if you have carpool, whatever it might be, and then you still have to make sure that you are doing your IEP writing and meetings on top of all that, and you get zero extra compensation for that. It is extremely unfair, and it's another reason why we're losing so many good special education teachers, because of the fact that they're just not valuing the position as it should be. So let me know. I mean, am I off base on this? Am I on point with this? Drop a comment, please, for me. For my fellow SPED teachers, definitely stick with it. Hang in there if you can. But let me know your thoughts on that. This is definitely a safe space. You got someone who's been right there in the fire with y'all. Drop some comments. Let's chat. But again, before I end this video, please make sure you like this video if it touched you in some kind of way. Share to another fellow SPED teacher. Subscribe, please. I'd love to continue to give y'all more content. And I'll see y'all on the next video. Thank you. Peace.